What's up everyone, welcome back to the channel. Boozer here, thanks for stopping by. Today's video we're going to be talking about the brand new Sweethearts Path event, and then we're going to break down which route is the best for you. There's a couple rewards in this path. We got the fragments for the Noldua fusion, we got the 5-star souls for Solanar, and the 5-star souls for the fusion Noldua, as well as this pretty cool looking avatar. Unfortunately, it's gated behind the 5-star blessings, which freaking sucks. We also have some relic mats in here. We got 50 mythical mats up for grabs, as well as some epic and legendary pieces as well. So let's break this down a little bit further. We do have the requirements here. The requirements are getting artifacts and accessories and pulling champions from shards. In terms of the point value, they look pretty standard. Bulk of your points are going to come from using sacred shards. We do have Solanar up for grabs in a progressive event. Actually, there's a progressive event for non-voids as well that's happening right now. Sorry, there it is. So we do have Solanar up for grab for the voids, and then for the non-voids we do have the partner champions for some of the previous fusions also up for grabs. Yeah, I mean, so it's all about Solanar right now, so it's probably going to be a pretty big Kraken event for him. In terms of the point breakdown for the dungeons, usually for hard 10 you're looking at about rough general value of between a 5-star epic and a 6-star rare, so between 31 and 38. So I'll use 35 points per run for hard 10, which gives you pretty standard 1.75 points per energy spent on hard 10. You're going to get a little bit more efficiency if you do something like standard normal dungeon 20, for example, but it's not going to be by much. But that's generally what kind of points you're going to be looking at in terms of energy. Now let's break down this path a little bit further here. I'm going to get the trusty snip tool out, and we'll do some work here. All right, so with this fusion, if you basically completed every single event up until this point and you did not win any tournaments, you will still need to do 15 fragments from this hero's path in order to complete the fusion. And that's going to look something like this. You have to go down and get this 2 keys here, and then yes, you're going to open up the middle path, excuse me, and then you're going to pick up the extra 5 fragments here. So this path is basically the minimum you need to do, probably for most people that are still looking to do the fusion. So that total amount's going to come out to 38,500 points for this green section here, and that's going to cost you an average of 8.55 sacred shards. Now obviously you can bring that cost down a bit just by going for energy, spending it on dungeons, getting accessories for the next 4 days. You could probably bring down the cost as much as 2 sacred shards without having to spend too much additional resources outside of doing your dailies. Just doing your dailies and using your regenerated energy, you can probably clear at least 1 sacred shard or save 1 sacred shard. It's a little bit more expensive than just a regular summon rush, but because there's ways to alleviate some of the costs with energy and stuff like that, you know, it kind of makes sense in terms of balancing out the cost here. It's also replacing a dungeon diver as well, so keep that in mind. You're effectively doing basically 2 events in one. Now for some reason my alt is missing 5 fragments, and this is where it gets pretty expensive if you have to go down to these 2 extra nodes down here. So each one of these purple paths here leads you to 5 fragments for the fusion. Each one of these paths costs 19,000 points or 4.22 sacred shards. So for 4.22 sacred shards, beyond the first 15, you're going to get 5 fragments. So if you wanted both these fragments here, it's going to cost you almost as much as 3 fragments. So definitely Plarium turning the screws here if you messed up the fusion for some reason. Keep in mind that if you guys messed up the fusion, you guys could probably buy some of these coins in the shop, and I believe the coins are cheaper than buying shards. But of course you don't get any champions out of that or anything, but that might be a more cost-effective way than going down these purple routes if you don't have to. Now what if you wanted to get Noldua's soul, for example? Now her soul is not super important, she obviously benefits from it, but unless she's your main you know, I would say unless she's one of your main PvP champions, you probably don't need to invest in a high level soul for her. You can get away with just getting a 1-star for her because that's going to give her an HP boost, or even just go for 3 stars and then give her the defense boost as well. So you can definitely save the cost here of getting the 5-star soul, but if you insist on going for the 5-star soul, it's probably going to look something like this. So you're going to go down the right hand side. You're either going to go down to the legendary book for 10,000 points or 15,000 points for the 50 mythical shards. Now, the mythical shards are a little bit more expensive. It's one sacred shard more than the legendary book, but also the mythical shards are quite a lot more rare than the legendary book. So it really depends on what you're willing to spend. Obviously, 50 mats is just, for a gamble at a mythical relic. But you would basically take one of these two routes and then you would end up at the soul, either Noldua or Solanar. So you have one or the other here. So if you wanted the cheapest path towards one of the souls, each soul would cost you 17.3 sacred shards. This is a little bit more expensive than I would have liked, to be honest. I was expecting maybe closer to 15, mainly because the fusion is not crazy in terms of quality. So I thought maybe Plarium would drop us a little bit of a bone and give the soul for cheaper. I was, like I said, expecting closer to 15. Now, Solanar Soul is basically the same price. You can go down straight to Solanar Soul for 17.3, which I think, it's probably a relatively okay deal considering he's going to be a top tier champion. And then, of course, if you want the mythical mats, it's going to be one extra sacred shard on top of that. Now, what if you wanted to do the 15 fragments for the fusion and then basically, build her up fully and then get the 5-star soul for her? So then you're just adding 60,000 more points, basically going through the legendary book and then getting the soul. That would be the cheapest route. And like I said, if you wanted to gamble on the mythical mats, you're going to add one more sacred shard. So that's going to look something like this: 98,500 points or just under 22 sacred shards. So for 22 sacred shards, you finish off the fusion and you pick up one of the 5-star souls. It's significant, right? It's significant. If you don't have substantial amount of gems to bring down the cost, you're looking at spending quite an amount of shards to finish this all off. There is, some incentive to pull void shards right now because of the progressive event for Solanar, but there's no boosted rates or anything like that, so you can't really expect much to come from those shards. So make sure you temper your expectations, and they're just currency used to get these rewards, right? Whether it to be finishing off the fusion or getting the 5-star soul for those champions. Now, personally speaking, I still think they dropped the ball a little bit offering Solanar's 5-star soul here because not many people have Solanar. So why offer his soul up, etc., etc. But it is what it is. And yeah, like I said, I'm not too thrilled about the breakdown beyond the first 15 fragments. Like I said, on my alt account, I didn't miss 5. I missed 5 points somewhere. Somewhere in the first 3 events, I missed 5 points. Really have no idea where that happened. But yeah, that happened. So that really sucks. That's going to cost me an additional 4 sacred shards or so. I'm going to try to do as much dungeon grinding as I can, but that's still going to cost me a little bit of shards just for that mistake there. But hey, at least we have the option to finish off the fusion, even though we are making mistakes along the way. Better than having 95 fragments, for example. So at least we have the option there. So for the main account, I will be just completing the green path just to finish off the fusion. I'm not too bothered by any of the souls because I'm not going to use her in any high level content. And I don't have Solanar, so I'm not going to go for Solanar. I'm also not too interested in going an extra 3 sacred shards for this 50 mythical fragment. It's just, to me, like, yes, like mythical fragments are very hard to get, but I'm not sure if the gamble to me is worth it anymore. It's just so ridiculous. But of course, if you're an endgame player with lots of resources, it's something that you kind of have to go for. These are the resources to get you the most elusive rewards to power spike your account. I'm talking about mythical relics, obviously. It's just kind of something you need to do if you want to push your account forward. So I might still consider going for it. For the mythical relics, you can get, I believe, the tower helm, and what was it? It's from the event. Winds of Winter. There you go. Yeah, Tower Helm and the Diabolical Dice. Both of these are really good mythical relics. Obviously, them being event category means that they're only going to be here for a limited amount of time. Plarium did say that they're going to bring back some of these old events. Cat's Gaze was the first one. We still haven't seen anything for that. And it's been over a year now. So if you guys remember the Alice Adventures campaign, that was last year, the start of the year. So Been a year, we haven't seen any of them back, so we just assume that they're probably not going to come back at a regular rate. But yeah, if you get one of the if you get the dice or tower helm, they're really strong. But yeah, 100 of those mythical mats gives you a 20% chance. It's just yeah, a little bit heartbreaking after so many fails and all that. But as an end game player, like I said, you probably want to still stock those up and grind them away. Anyways, folks, that's gonna be it for the video here. Hopefully, the video was informative and helpful for you guys. Like I said, if you guys are going for the green path, that's going to be the basic requirement to finish off the fusion. It's going to cost you 8.5 sacred shards roughly, with potential to bring that cost down if you have some energy to spend. We do have dragon happening right now, and then we do have 2x speed happening through the weekend. There's also a training tournament for the rest of the day, so you can kind of triple dip, I guess. And if you're looking for the fusion soul or Solanar soul, the cheapest you can get it for is an extra 60,000 points. That's on top of doing the 15 fragments, and that's going to push your total up to just under 22 sacred shards to complete the fusion and get one of the 5-star souls. If you're looking for just the 5-star soul and you don't care about the fusion, then one soul is going to cost you about 17 sacred shards. So these prices, not astronomical, but not really throwing us any bones or anything like that. So anyways, guys, let me know in the comments below what you guys are planning to do. Hopefully you have a great Friday and a great weekend ahead. Best of luck on your pulls if you guys are pulling, and I'll see you guys in the next one.